Welcome back. So how many executive orders has President Trump already signed? 14, and here are just some of them. I'll go fast. A rollback of the Affordable Health Care Act, a ban on federal dollars for abortion, a withdrawal from TPP, a hiring freeze on federal agencies, approval of the Keystone Pipeline, defunding sanctuary cities, building the border wall, and finally, extreme vetting for immigrants from terrorist nations. And joining us for more on President Trump's first week in office, they're all laughing already, is Kevin Griffith, the vice chairman, or crying, Kevin Griffith, the vice chairman of the Sarasota County Democratic Party, Christian Ziegler, Republican state committeeman for Sarasota, and Mitch Perry, a reporter for FloridaPolitics.com. Christian, you must be pretty happy this week.
I love it. Everything Trump has done is exactly what he said he was going to do when he ran for office. And during the entire campaign, he made a lot of promises, from immigration to Obamacare to the trade deals. And he got into office and he's executed. And you look at everything he's done, I think he's right on path with what the people want. And that's why they elected him. And that's where we're at.
Christian, what is the sense among Sarasota, Manatee County Democrats?
Well, a lot of enthusiasm, obviously, in opposition to Donald Trump. I think one thing to remember is that with these executive orders, they, for all intents and purposes, require Congress to pass actual bills. So, for example, the wall, it's got to be funded. We've heard within the day or two or three different ways it possibly could be funded. All of these have to go through Congress first. So it's basically symbolic to this point.
Mitch, it seems to me that these executive orders, and the inaugural address is playing to the support that President Trump has already, and he's not going to make many people who he had hoped will give him a chance happy.
Well, that's right, at least so far. Again, we're 1 week into it, but I think he had a laundry list of things that he campaigned on, as Christian said, that he wanted to do, and he's done it. And he's, again, a lot of it's symbolic because we have to see how it plays out, literally. But it's been impactful, it's been powerful. We were talking about these hot topic issues of immigration, of extreme vetting of Syrian refugees. Doing that is really controversial, but it's hit the sweet spot of conservatives who rallied to him during this campaign. So you're right. He's not at all in this first week trying to appease his critics or the folks, the millions who went out last week and all across the country. But for him, I think mission accomplished. I mean, I think he really wanted to show, this year-long, 2-year-long battle to win the presidency is to actually do something in office there. And so, a lot of it's been very flashy. There's been, you said 14, I did not know it was that many. And I think all of us are trying to get our heads around all of it because there's been a lot of action and energy.
Does it even matter that he appears to be going a little bit ahead of his own Republican Congress? Look, John McCain is not happy about the waterboarding stuff. There is,
or is even his own defense secretary.
Right, and when it comes to the Affordable Health Care Act, a lot of Republicans in Congress want a replacement before repeal, and it's putting them into a box. That's what you hear a lot.
No, look, you look at Donald Trump. He campaigned on these issues. He's executing on these issues. And that's what the American people want. For all too long, what happens is people get elected, they make promises in the campaign, and once they get into office, they promise they're going to get it done, and they never get it done.
Well,
and the wall's a perfect example.
Let me just call you out something. You said this is what the American people want.
That's exactly right.
What do you mean by that?
Donald Trump was elected president on a platform and the promises he made during his campaign. He was elected on certain issues, and that's when he came into office, and that's what he's been executing on. Whether it's building the wall, which is a great example, Obamacare, taking steps to repeal that.
I guess the question is that, he lost the popular vote by 3 million, if you believe in some facts.
Yeah, but you look at the Carolina Panthers. They went 15-1 last year, but they weren't the Super Bowl champs. No one will ever remember what their record was. It's how you win it.
My point is, do you have to be aware of public opinion? Because after all, the last poll that came out shows that he only has 36% approval rate.
No, Alan, at this point, he campaigned on certain issues. He was elected on those issues, and he's executing on those issues. If he wasn't executing on those issues, people like yourself and in the media, they would be criticizing him for not doing what he promised to do.
What I find interesting, and you're right, Christian, I mean, Paul Ryan, you saw on your broadcast, he's talking about, we're going to pay for the wall. I don't remember Paul Ryan campaigning for a wall, actually, but now he's saying, we're going to find a way to spend the money. This is a huge expenditure, 10, 15, $20 billion, right? So right now, Trump has the momentum. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell don't, although, we will see a lot of pushback as this goes along. I mean, for example, Russia, okay, sanctions. Trump is talking about removing them. I just saw a headline. Mitch McConnell says, not so fast, Mr. President. So, again, 1 week, a lot of energy, but right now, he's the most, popular man in the country, if you will, because he was the elected president, and Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell weren't.
And Kevin, we have less than a minute left, but I mean, is there a sense amongst Democrats there's really nothing that you can do about it at this point, or you have to pick your battles?
Well, I recall being on the show the day after the election, and I made a point, and I would reiterate that point. Donald Trump's problem governing is going to be mainly with the Republican Party and not with the Democratic Party, because what he ran on is not a Republican platform.
Right.
It's a populist platform.
We are just getting started. There is more on Trump's first week in office, along with the check on our forecast coming up, so stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're discussing President Trump's first week in office. Our guests tonight are Kevin Griffin of the Sarasota County Democratic Party, Christian Ziegler, a Republican state committeeman for Sarasota County, and Mitch Perry of FloridaPolitics.com. Show of hands. Has this been a whirlwind of a first week for this president?
It's only been a week.
Successful week. Guys
What
gotten
would
to work
any
and done a
president,
great job.
I would dare say in history of our country, at least in the 50 years I've been following politics.
Kevin, agree?
It's only been a week.
Okay, but a busy
Right.
week.
It's been a very busy week.
A lot of executive orders. We definitely know what this president is doing. On the flip side,
Yeah.
Christian, crowd size envy,
Yep.
popular vote envy, the little debacle at the CIA.
Look,
That it doesn't read well.
no, but look at this. The media is so hyper-focused on this, Sean Spicer, the spokesman, and they like to generate this dialogue and this focus on these issues because they're truly trying to delegitimize Trump's presidency. And they're trying to shift direction, and that's the only way they can take him down because he's done such a great job.
Let me ask you this, because Steve
Yep.
Bannon talked to the New York Times earlier this week, and basically he said that the media should be quiet for a while.
That's right.
In your opinion, is it unpatriotic not to tell the truth about the president or anybody else?
No, but I think what Steve Bannon said was they need to be quiet and they need to listen. There was a second part to that because the media has not been listening to the people, and the media has been completely out of touch for this whole campaign, and now after he's in office. The media still doesn't understand why Donald Trump was elected, and I think it would be good for the media to take a step back and start listening to the people and figuring out why did Trump win, because both the media and the Democratic Party still have yet to figure it out.
I mean, is it the responsibility of the media to point out factual issues about...
It is, but it's also
Yes.
responsible for the media to really take a tone on what's going on in the country.
I was
and
quoting
report
Teddy
based on that.
Roosevelt, by the way.
What Christian is saying, you're writing on that, the whole idea about the media was out to lunch during the campaign, and, that's fair. But no, let's start. Now the man is the president as of a week ago. He's made misstatements, lies on occasion. It's absolutely the media's responsibility to call that out. Now, the whole thing about crowd size, it does kind of get out of proportion because then the man is actually signing these executive orders that have real policy to it. But it goes to Trump's ego and narcissism, and we're not used to that in a president. I mean, Trump is so unconventional in many ways. Many ways people like that, and many ways people don't. And I think that the fact whether he's still in this obsession, he's going to have an investigation about voter fraud. Are you kidding me? Look, when Jill Stein was going into Wisconsin and Michigan, the Trump people were getting attorneys to challenge her, saying, no, this is a legitimate election. Now he's all for this. This is silly. And it's absolutely incumbent upon the media to call that out.
Kevin, is this what Democrats are hoping for in terms that the president will get so wrapped up in these kinds of issues that eventually it's going to catch up to him?
No. I mean, as a Democrat and an American, I want our country to succeed. But at the same time, I think we have to hold him accountable. I mean, and that's what the media tries to do, and it's what the Democratic Party is going to continue to do. And that's what some of these issue-based rallies are about, and they're going to continue to happen. And it's going to be holding Donald Trump accountable.
You're shaking your head.
Well, no, I think Kevin made some good points there, but I think when you look at this, you got to remember in 2015 when he got into this race, the media said he has no chance, and they said he's not even going to make the debates. His popularity continued to grow, and the media still could never realize why is this guy catching on, and why did the public really tap into his message. And all you guys had to do was go to one of these rallies. There were 20,000 people to figure it out.
I guess the question is it counterproductive to what he is trying to do for the country, hold on, by getting into debates over the crowd at his inauguration compared to Obama's, in terms of this whole thing about the popular vote where facts get in the way of the point that he's trying to make?
Well, look, with Donald Trump, one thing you're going to get with the guy that I think everyone will agree is he's not filtering his message through 3-4 different people before it hits the airways. You get exactly what's on his heart, what's in his mind. You hear exactly from him, whether it's a tweet, whether it's something he says in the press, and people love that. It's nice to finally see an unfiltered politician at this point. But when you look at it, some of these, like the pictures and the media's obsession with that, even this tweet saying, but what about the MLK bus,
hold on one
right?
second. It wasn't the media obsession with the picture so much as the president's obsession with
Well, yeah, but the way the
size.
media works is you say a comment in a press conference or wherever it is, media grabs it and then they run with it, and you guys get to decide what the headlines are for the next couple days, and you jump on it.
I would dare say this is a distraction even having this discussion right now. You know, one of the things that Trump did the other day about immigration is, you know, at one point there was talk about deporting everybody, right? And everyone says that's crazy, that can't happen. But what he did the other day with this executive order is actually looking at more people than just, you know, Obama basically said, you know, undocumented people who have done serious crimes. We need to deport those people. Mm-hmm. Trump is expanding that right now, and it could be basically people who even mow lawns and the like. I mean, this is something that's really serious, actually, because this is going beyond what, again, it hits a sweet spot of a lot of Republicans who say, you know, let's change this. But I think that this is a profound change in our culture that even many Republicans are okay with in terms of documented labor in Florida, for example. And I think this is something that is going to be big resistance on.
You know, Kevin, there's somebody who I respect a great deal and I work with from time to time, who every time one of these things comes out, whether it's a tweet or kind of an outlandish statement from the president, he gets angry that we're covering it because it distracts from the issues of what he's actually trying to put forth.
You know, sometimes I think that it's a strategy by Trump. It's almost subterfuge. You know, send something out that the media will talk about and cover. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, take care of whatever he's trying to do that he doesn't want as much media coverage about. Let me circle back a little bit just about Trump himself. You know, I've read a lot about presidencies. I like reading those books. One thing that you hear is, for the presidency, the defining characteristics of the person, the office of the presidency, multiplies those tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. We know who Donald Trump is. We know who he will be. The question is, who will we be as a people in response?
You know, Christian, are you hoping that, you know, you have a lot of friends in the White House right now, that they're counseling the president to that all presidents have to do at some point, stay on message? If you remember back in the Reagan administration, they had a message of the day, and they were pretty darn good at keeping Ronald Reagan on message in order to achieve the policy goals. Bill Clinton, it was more difficult, but when they tried to keep him on message, it was easier to achieve the policy goals.
Well, I think when you look at Donald Trump, I mean, the guy has had a very successful week. So you're going to have people on the left that are going to say he's had a disastrous week in terms of the press. Look at these pictures of the mall and you know what the crowd size is. But if you start looking at everything he's done this week, it's been a very successful week. And I care more about what someone does than what they say. And if you look at everything he's done every single day and you get a recap, as a Republican, as a conservative, I am thrilled with how this
I would push
went.
back against that, saying that it's been a successful week. Let's look at the threats to pull out of NAFTA or the TPP, or the actually pulling out of the TPP. Let's talk about NAFTA. Placing a 20% tariff on goods coming from Mexico to America means that, you know, when Christian goes to have his Corona later after the show, he's going to pay 20% more. Or that Congress has to actually pass an act that says they want to add a 20% tariff, which violates NAFTA.
I will tell you, I'm going to enjoy my Corona even more so tonight, because exactly what you just saw here is a member of the Democratic Party downplaying how big of an action removing ourselves from TPP or renegotiating NAFTA is, because Trump won. Hold on one second, Alan. Trump won because he went after that segment of the population that had been left by the Democratic Party and has been left by the
We have less than a minute left.
I would say this about Mexico, for example. Nieto, the president, did not come here this week when he was supposed to because of Trump. His tweet the other day about maybe you shouldn't come over here because you're going to pay for this wall. And I know they said today that they're not going to talk about this. They're going to try to keep it, low to the ground. Good luck with Trump not saying anything about the wall coming forward. But I think this is really something to be concerned about, okay? Because Mexico is an ally of ours, and now we're somewhere alienating big time.
Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests. Welcome back. President Trump had a busy first week in office, signing more than a dozen executive orders, but will they create real change going forward? Our guests join us now for final thoughts.
Well, I would say let's look forward to week number 2. The Supreme Court justice he's going to name on this Thursday. And really, you think about it, a lot of people who really weren't happy between Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, it came down to Supreme Court, who's going to have the choice of the Supreme Court. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, the court, the presidency. This is a huge thing that's coming up this week.
Christian, keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I think, look, he's pushed to build the wall. Look at the refugees and do vetting on the refugees. Obamacare taking actions against that. These trade deals, the size of government, hiring freeze and a pay freeze for federal government workers. Donald Trump has had an incredible first week. I'm looking forward to the second week, and as Mitch mentioned, the Supreme Court, that's going to be key, and I think there's a staunch conservative he's going to be putting in that seat.
I think Donald Trump would do well to look at the last big personality president, that was LBJ, who was a Democrat, and LBJ had a saying that in politics, you don't tell someone to go to hell unless you can make them. And some of his tweets to the Mexican president and those type of things, it's not a zero-sum game when you launch these.
So what did the Democrats do at this point?
I think we need to put forth an alternative platform. I mean, and hold them accountable. So paid family medical leave, infrastructure development. I mean, these are things that he ran on and
well,
were
that's something
popular.
they can work together actually on. Democrats came out this week and talked about we want to work on this thing with the infrastructure. Mayors really want this $1 trillion. I mean, we need it everywhere, certainly.
Trump mentioned in his speech, America First. That's exactly what we're seeing, and I think that's exactly what our country needs right now. It's refreshing and it's exciting going forward.
All right, let's leave it there. But before we go,